Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. Now, the first thing to talk about something that's actually quite sad to hear, and that is that recently Hiroshi Yamauchi has recently died at age of 85. Now, this is one of those things that is just very unexpected. We never see coming, but it's really sad to see something like this happen, and he's been just a really great icon to a lot of people and looked up by so many people, and he's going to be very memorable for so many people, and it's really, really sucks, especially since he's been a very big part of what really made Nintendo what it is today, and he's really helped out the gaming industry just as a whole within the past, at least, and he's been an overall great influence to the gaming industry just in general, and it really is just really sad to see these things kind of happen. And I'm hoping that maybe possibly Nintendo will maybe look this as a time to maybe, even though they do need to make improvements and do things, change things to make things overall better, but maybe, look for the right things that maybe have changed over time and look back and see what really was, Hiroshi's big, vision and idea of, what the company should be, because he really paid close attention and he really picked every single piece very carefully of what is Nintendo to make what it is today. And he spent so much time on it and everything, and maybe they should just look for things that maybe things he just said or mentioned, or maybe things he had dreams of or thoughts of, or maybe let's just say maybe a game series that recently died or died in the past that they don't make games anymore for, and maybe he saw potential in it, and maybe they should start making games for that again, and maybe as a way to, I guess you could say, respect his death, or at least, look as a way to maybe possibly, make some of those things happen and come true. And maybe, again, maybe there's some qualities or aspects or certain things that have been lost over time that maybe, they need to, I guess you could say, reconsider and just, bring back into the company, whether it's a gaming series or a certain aspect or quality about the company as a whole, or just about anything, because he really made a big influence on what made Nintendo what it is today. But at least they should, I guess you could say, look for the right things while making the right changes to move forward and just become a better company in general, so Nintendo could potentially still be what we remember them as they are today, and especially as what Hiroshi made what they are, but also being able to still move forward. Now, the second thing I'm talking about is something that's also sad as well, but I do promise I will have at least one good thing, or positive saying, by the end of this video. Now, it looks like due to a leak very recently, there has been information released that Capcom only has $152 million in the bank. Now, for a lot of people, that is a lot of money. That is certainly a huge sum of money. It really is. But for designing a video game and getting a game made, it is not enough. Now, I know a lot of people have been comparing it to Grand Theft Auto 5, which Grand Theft Auto 5 isn't exactly a good example of the average AAA game, because they spent so much more time on it and much more money than other companies usually do on their games. But even when you could talk about those games that get developed in just 1 or 2 years, it's not enough money. It really isn't. Now, even though this is really just mind-blowing and it's really a big surprise, there's one thing that still surprises me more. And that is that Capcom has came out and said that for the survival of the company, they are going to be relying on the sales of DLC. Now, DLC, I know some people do enjoy it sometimes, but it has been proven to be a very negative impact on the gaming industry as a whole. It really has, especially Day 1 DLC, which is still a joke and still a ripoff of selling you DLC that should have been on the disc in the first place, and just a way for them to make more money. But the fact that a company like this, Capcom, is doing this, now I could see, many other companies in this situation doing the same thing, but seeing Capcom do this, it's so surprising that, they would do this of all companies, and it's really sad to see, and it's very likely not going to work, and if it does, it's going to be as small as, maybe a few $100,000 or a couple of $1 million that will save them, and that's it, and especially with, like some people said, the new next-gen consoles, making games for them is going to cost more. Yeah, it definitely is, but at least it's going to be easier to make, and it's going to take less time, at least a little bit. Now, one thing that I'm surprised that nobody has really said is that I think one thing that they can do, and I'm still surprised that Capcom is not doing this, is to make some HD remakes of games. Now, I'm sure a lot of people get annoyed by them because a lot of companies are making HD remakes of games, but they cost a lot less money to make compared to making a game all the way from scratch. Even if they make an HD remake from scratch, they're making it based upon a game that already exists. So it'll take a lot less time and money. But still, if they do, but it looks like they've made their statements that they're not going to, but if they were going to, they would at least have to choose the right game that they see the most success in, because they have to be very careful right now, because things are really just not looking good for them. But I guess we're just going to have to see how things turn out. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is Atlus. Now, I talked about Atlus quite a while in the past, but it looks like they have finally been purchased by a company. Now, a lot of people have been, I guess you could say going back and forth, on the choice of this and what, who they got bought by, especially since there was two companies that were really, really interested in actually purchasing them. One of them was Nintendo, and the second one was Sega. Now, the one that actually ended up winning it and actually ended up being able to buy them out was Sega, in fact. And a lot of people are very upset because they feel like, Nintendo would have been a much better company to buy out Atlus, which I can really, really see that happening. But if I was still given a choice, would I rather have, just one of these companies or any of the other ones? I'd still rather have at least, one of the two, but it can be seen as a good thing or bad thing. It just really depends on how they handle things and how things get, done, and just how things go for Atlus, and how things change and how much of the things stay the same. But we can at least see that Atlus did say no matter who buys them out, they are still going to make, develop, and release the games they're originally planning to. So we can at least say that nothing too major is going to be changing. We're not going to be seeing them, getting bought out by a company and then the company telling them like, okay, we want you to completely cut this game off, because we've seen that a lot with a lot of companies. But we can have at least say that, they made their statements and that they made a stand that they're still going to be making all those games, but I'm just hoping things go overall very, very well for them, and hopefully Sega, does everything the right way and looks at this in the right way and really just handles things properly. So that's pretty much it for today, guys, and I really hope things really turn out much, much better. It seems like a lot of, I guess you could say bad things are happening. There's a lot of bad things happening, right as this next-gen console generation is about to start, and it's really, really bad to see. I mean, we saw THQ go away, and there's some other companies that are going down the toilet, and at least we are seeing some slightly good aspects and things actually happening, like Nintendo. If they do take this as a time to possibly make the company better as a whole, then that would be really, really great in general. And the other thing is, at least Atlus got bought by a company at least we're familiar with, and depending on how things, turn out and how they handle things really could turn out well. And at least we can see that they made their statements that they are going to be doing things the way they were originally going to, at least make the same games and at the same time and everything. So at least that's good to see, but just hopefully, we don't see too much more of this kind of stuff, but, hopefully it's nothing that's going to be too close to home for a lot of people, which I'm sure at least some people have really felt like, that one company that, was the closest to them has been put out of business, or things are going really bad for them right now. But hopefully see more better things, and just let me guys know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think, this is maybe going to be, a really great moment for Nintendo to possibly better themselves, or do you think they're really good where they are right now? And for Capcom, do you think that, things will turn out better for them, or do you think, it's just a really stupid situation? They should have seen it from a long shot, and they really, really made a dumb choice. Or do you think they might get lucky and be saved by, maybe as small as a few $100,000 or a couple of $1 million? And what do you think about, everything else in general? I mean, tell me guys what you think in the comment section below. I would really love to get to see and get to hear what you guys think. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. Hope you guys are having an awesome weekend, and I will see you guys in the next video.